Welcome to Southwest Florida Real Estate Update, hosted by area realtor Jim York and York Real Estate Group of Downing Fry Realty. Our show will bring you the most up-to-date information about the local real estate market, featuring leading experts in the real estate field.
Hi, welcome to the Southwest Florida Real Estate Update. I'm Morgan York with the York Real Estate Group, and today we're joined by our host Jim York and his guest Celia Deifik, attorney with the law group Ross, Lanier, and Deifik.
Thank you, Morgan, for the introduction. Well, thanks for coming back on the show.
Sure.
Let's tell our viewers a little bit about yourself before we get into our topic of we're going to talk about today.
Okay. My name is Celia Deifik. I'm with the law firm of Ross, Lanier, and Deifik, law firm downtown, many years standing, and I'm board certified in real property law. I don't do transactional work, used to, learned a lot that way, but for many years I have focused on litigating issues of real estate, litigating issues of business, and of course that also includes what we call ADR, alternative dispute resolution, mediation, arbitration, things like that.
Which is a better way of doing it, right?
A better way. I always tell clients a pre-suit mediation can save you a fortune.
So adverse possession, that's what we're going to talk about today.
Mm-hmm.
And people that, a lot of people when they hear that, they sometimes think of foreclosure, right?
Well, I mean, I think what a lot of people think of is old movies with squatters' rights, taking over a house and things like that. And you're right, we have seen a problem arising from the foreclosure crisis, the Great Recession of 2007, 2008. And we certainly do have that situation where people have taken over abandoned property, possessed and enclosed and occupied them for 7 years and complied with the statute for adverse possession without color of title. But it's a much larger issue than that. More frequently, you see adverse possession occurring with regard to boundary strips of property or small parcels of property that service a larger parcel. So yes, it can happen because of someone moving into an abandoned house. More frequently, it comes about because of inadvertence, inattention, failure to get a survey, failure to read the survey, sloppy title work, sloppy foreclosures.
So I guess what I'm thinking of is that a person, adverse possession can, most people think of it as somebody maybe getting in there and claiming that they've been living there for 7 years plus, right? Mm-hmm. But there's the other ways of that they can get adverse possession too, like what you're saying, title, and explain that a little bit more.
Sure.
To me.
I think I mentioned to you before we went on the air that it does very frequently happen with regard to strips of property and, you know, on the edge, really a land dispute.
Right.
And what frequently happens is that the initial lawsuit is not about adverse possession. The initial lawsuit is to quiet title or to eject someone from a property or to make them stop using a strip behind a fence, that kind of thing. And then as people get more into it, they realize that what they need to be doing is arguing adverse possession, and frequently that is the more successful argument. There's two major types of adverse possession, but I don't want to interrupt your thoughts.
No, it's just, I was just, you know, kind of going over that when somebody abandons a house, that's what I was going at, what happens.
Well, that would be adverse possession without color of title. As I said, there's two kinds of adverse possession. And I call adverse possession how to lose your property in 3 easy steps.
Okay, so.
Right. So the first way is adverse possession with color of title.
Right.
And adverse possession without. Color of title is a fancy legal word that just means, color of title means there's some kind of meaningful legal document recorded in the clerk's official records. A deed, a judgment, a will. So I might be claiming, for instance, under a will or a judgment that said Joe Jones leaves this property to his 3 children.
Okay, yep.
I'm one of the 3 children, and I've been living there for 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
But other people are disputing my ownership. And one of the things that you find, people think deeds are so crystal clear. They're not. You find a lot of deeds with overlapping legal descriptions or that weren't properly executed. And so people have competing claims. So you might do a quiet title action and combine it with a adverse possession action saying, well, look, there's this will, there's this deed, I have something that I can hang my hat on that's given notice to the world because it's in the land records.
Right.
Now, it has to be a good faith instrument. You can't just go, oh, I'll make one up and pretend Celia sold her house to me.
Mm-hmm.
That would be fraud. The other way, which goes to what you're talking about, moving into an abandoned property, and it happens with commercial properties
Right.
also, is without color of title. And that's even harder to prove, but people do it every day. And what happens there is somebody moves in, takes over a piece of property. The owners are up north, they've moved away, nobody's checking on the property. It used to be that you could do that without filing something with the property appraiser giving notice. All you had to do was pay the taxes, enclose, occupy, and utilize the property continuously. And your possession has to be open, notorious, and hostile. Open meaning anybody could see it. Notorious meaning everybody in the neighborhood knows it. Hostile meaning the owner could have come along and thrown you out or sued you or even had you arrested any time. But if you can get through those 7 years without that happening, you can file a suit and make that house yours. Now, an important change in the law has been that you not only have to pay taxes, but you have to file something with the property appraiser's office that they are going to mail to the record title owners saying, Jim York's trying to take your house.
Right. Well, we're going to come back. This is a very interesting topic, and we're going to be back in 1 minute. Thank you.
Thinking of buying or selling a home in Naples, Bonita Springs, or Estero? Think of the most experienced realtors. The York Real Estate Group of Downing Fry Realty. Let's have a look at what the McLeans have to say about their experience working with the York Real Estate Group.
Jim York was our broker in acquiring our present home in Bonita Springs. His knowledge and integrity made the process go very smoothly.
It was a pleasure doing business with Jim York. Everything was done in a superbly professional manner.
Welcome back. How do we prevent it? That's, I think, the big question, because nobody wants to lose their property.
That's true. That's true. And we have so many absentee owners
We do.
who are either up north in the United States, they're in Canada, they're in Europe, and they're not paying attention. So the very first thing is the most obvious. Open your mail.
Mm-hmm.
Read your mail. Have your property inspected on a regular basis by someone knowledgeable. Get a survey. Surveys matter. And don't copy legal descriptions from the last instrument. There's a kind of outrageous case concerning a shopping center somewhere else in Florida where the property was foreclosed. The bank turned around and sold the shopping center to someone else. And in that process, they just cut and paste the legal description from the mortgage onto the deed.
Yeah.
Now, this is millions of dollars, and nobody went and checked what did it really include. For years, the shopping center thought it included their drainage pond that was necessary to the operation of the shopping center. Well, it didn't. So that's an example of how just mistakes and inadvertence and inattention can lose your property. Now, besides that, you need a good attorney. There are many defenses to raise. The adverse possession statute is it's very hard for a claimant to comply with it. And they're only able to comply with it because people are so unattentive.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you get a good attorney, that attorney can point out all the ways they really have not complied with the statute. And interestingly, the Florida legislature has made the burden of proof in an adverse possession case harder than almost any other kind of civil case. So the legislature is trying to help people. The presumption's going to be in favor of the original owner, but I have seen many instances where people have lost portions of property or even the whole.
Before we end the show, maybe we've covered this, maybe we haven't. What would be a red flag for somebody to notice this is happening?
Somebody else is paying your taxes.
That would be, okay.
Right. You should, if you are an absentee owner, whether residential or commercial, you should be checking with the tax collector regularly. You need to, very important, keep up your current address with the tax collector, the clerk of court, and the property appraiser. Because if a notice goes out to you and it goes to the wrong place and is not forwarded, you may lose your property. This is also a problem with tax deeds. Tax deeds are another way that people lose their property.
That's right.
And it also comes about sometimes because people fail to get or read the notice that is sent to them by the county officials, and then they just give up. They fail to even raise the slightest fight. One thing that I find frustrating is how many people come to me months after they've been served with a lawsuit. If you're served with a lawsuit, you need to do something right away.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Well, thank you for coming on the
Sure.
show. This was a very interesting topic, at least for me, and I'm sure our viewers, and hope you come back soon and we'll
Absolutely.
talk about something else.
Okay, thank you, Jim.